Hey, I'm Jonathan Blow. I don't have an official title, but I'm the director or something like that on the upcoming game, The Witness.
So, what were your goals heading into this unique game?
Oh, I had a lot of goals. My last game, Braid, was a puzzle game as well. It was a 2D platformer puzzle game. And I wanted to make something that was more non-linear than that, because a platformer is kind of a linear journey through a 2D world, right, usually. And I wanted to make something that explored the ideas in Braid that puzzles are able to communicate to you and can be very clear about what they're saying, and that puzzles get better the clearer they are. You know, that's something I felt I learned in Braid, so I wanted to take that in a different direction in The Witness, and also I just wanted to do a different genre. So this is a first-person exploring an abandoned island and finding puzzles and solving the puzzles in the um, as sort of an homage to games like the Myst series and other games of the 90s that created this kind of a first-person puzzle game, but now with modern technology. So it's not point and click, right? It's you wander through a world smoothly, but also with a modern sense of game design, because I grew up loving adventure games, even back in the text adventure, like Infocom kind of game days. But if I go back and play those games now, I find them basically unplayable, because we're better at game design now, and there's something about game design that those games never figured out. And so with The Witness, I wanted to attack that problem. Like, what would I do if I tried to take this Myst kind of a game and bring my flavor of what makes it more playable, what makes it have a flow to it, you know, the way a racing game or a fighting game might have a flow. And that's a really weird problem statement at first. People might think, how can a puzzle solving adventure have a flow? But it actually can, and that's what we're doing.
I heard you also just say recently you're against cutscenes. So, talk about how the interaction and the story progresses through as people play The Witness.
Well, the story happens through audio logs that you find in the world, little tape recorders that you can press the play button on, just like you might find in a game like BioShock or Doom 4 or something like that. Doom 3, Doom 4, Doom 3. It's a relatively hands-off story. So not only are you free to listen to it or not, right? You don't ever have to click these recorders, because there's never information in them that you need to solve a puzzle. They're simply there to help flesh out the world. But also, we as the developers can't predict what order you're going to listen to those story bits in, because they're sprinkled around the world, and the game is non-linear. So then we have this interesting challenge of making a story that's interesting when experienced non-linearly. So if you listen to section A and then section B, maybe we even have a slightly different interpretation than someone who listened to section B first and then A. But instead of just A and B, there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. You know, there's a lot of pieces. So that actually is really fun to write, and it's also interesting to see people experience.
What's it been like for you working with the PS4 hardware?
PS4 hardware has been good for us because it's a very capable machine. There's lots of memory. It's fast. So that's made it a very tractable problem to port our game to that hardware. You know, if we had to release on last gen consoles, we might have been able to do it eventually, but the game would not be able to look nearly as good as it does. It wouldn't be able to run as smoothly as it does, and there might be some other problems, you know. But the PS4 is very well able to handle the game, and that's great.